Hi Piyush, how you doing?
Good, Julian. How are you?
I'm good. Today, Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025. We're here for our monthly meeting to review market stats in the Greater Vancouver for the residential real estate market and touch base on some lending practices and mortgage forecast. So before we get going anywhere, as we can see on the screen right now, we have a compilation of the goals of the Whitecaps for 2024 on the MLS. And we have a big final coming up Saturday. Let's go, Whitecaps.
Let's go.
So pumped about those guys. They really make Vancouver shine. The way they play is very good. The coach is fantastic. The team is very solid. They're really moving as one. I was at the stadium. Did you go to the stadium for the game against LA Galaxy?
No, we weren't able to get tickets.
Oh my goodness. I went because my daughter wanted to go. She likes kind of like going to the football game. So we went with my friend, and I was expecting a game, right? But that was one of the best games I've been to in person in quite some time. It was very much like a emotional roller coaster with some beautiful play, some good battle from LA Galaxy with a screamer from Son at the 95th minute. That free kick, like top bin beauty. I was like dead on the perfect angle to catch the goal. It was crazy. And then playing 9th against 11th and all the way to penalty kicks and making it through. Oh my God. Like, at the end of the game, we're buzzing, and took time for us to get out of the field. So let's go, Whitecaps. It's going to be a tough game. Messy, revengeful, because last time he came to Vancouver, they lost 2-0.
We were not very nice to him.
Sorry?
We were not very nice to him when he came to Vancouver last time.
No, because he was not nice in the first place. So that's the thing.
Yeah.
But
and we beat them twice in a row, so he's got that chip on the shoulder.
Yeah, definitely, and it would be very interesting to see. And let's go Saturday morning. The stadium will be open. There are some tickets going on. There is a huge crowd, like also going at the game. There was like 54,000 people at the stadium. Like, again, it's one time in my life where I'm in that huge of a stadium that it was at full capacity. That was amazing. That was great. All right, let's go, Whitecaps. Probably we'll talk about it in the next market update. That would be next year, Piyush. This is
our final podcast of the year.
Yeah. But happy to do so. Let's see how is the market doing. All right. So we're going to start with the number of sales. We're dipping. As we can see on the chart right here, that is displaying the 12 months average of a number of sales evolution for Greater Vancouver, all property types combined. And we are actually hovering on those low levels for 2 years now, right? And I don't, or maybe in terms of volumes, there could be, you see, what's a bit counterintuitive is we went through that rate decrease from the Central Bank of Canada. I think, let me ask you this right off the bat. What do you think about the rates? Like, rates right now, it seems pretty good to me. They are not like back to pandemic levels where, it was very, very low. But I think it's they're in my, but my understanding is that they are at bearable levels. What do you think?
Yeah, so they are down to where there should be. They are holding steady at this moment.
Okay.
Somebody once said to me, like, this sounds like a very 2004 rate era.
2004?
Yeah, 2004. So that's what a client of mine, because I am refinancing them,
Okay.
and I told them, hey, this is what the reality is right now of the rates, and they're like, it's not so bad. Reminds you of 2004. And I went back and I checked what my parents' mortgage rate was in 2004. It
Okay.
was around that same mark.
Okay. So how was the market doing in 2004? In terms, okay, well, check this out. I mean, like, we're gonna use the January 2005 stat, and as you can see here, we're way above what we are now. So people were buying.
Yeah.
People were. So again, my understanding is rates are, to the extent that the property works, they are not, a block to making it a purchase, right?
Hmm.
And right now on the screen we have the as usual 5-year bond.
Yeah.
And as we can see, that's 3 years evolution, and we are below the 3% mark for since when?
Right. So you can see in 2023, that's where the bond yields were at their highest, and that's where you were seeing that consecutive rate increases from the Bank of Canada, and we are considerably lower than where we were 2 years ago, and inflation has also come down because you have to remember Bank of Canada increased the rates to fight inflation, so inflation is under control at the moment. And right now, the yield is more as we always said, that it's about the economy and how the job markets are doing. So if you want, I can get into that right now.
Sure.
Yeah. So even though, with the latest reports, the Canadian GDP actually grew by 2.6% in Q3. That was higher than the expected 0.5. Most of
Okay.
that increase in GDP is actually driven by government. So they're saying it's a bit of a
Bittersweet evolution.
yeah. So it doesn't really represent the reality of the economy. It may seem like the economy is healthy, but actually the activity is been driven by government investment. And to be fair, that's as I was mentioning the last podcast we did, that is the government's job. The government's job is when the economy is bad, they're supposed to spend money to spur economic activity, and when the economy is good, they're supposed to rein that back, so that way we don't drive up inflation. So so Government of Canada and all the other provincial governments are stepping in with investments, and because we had seen the budget that was passed just a few weeks ago, it was 70-80 billion dollar budget, and the Prime Minister has been giving out big projects, and a point of controversy here in British Columbia, a proposed pipeline from Alberta to the coast. We're always in some sort of controversy here in BC, and so now what has essentially happened is the federal government is able to bypass British Columbia's objection to this pipeline and build a pipeline from Alberta, so we can take that oil and bitumen and ship it out throughout the world. And the only way to do it is through coastal BC.
Yeah.
So it's not a done deal yet. There are many stipulations on there, and we will see how that goes.
Well, that's a very interesting topic of conversation. We're talking about macroeconomy and the future strength of Canada as a whole on a global scale. But yet, this is not the topic of what we're here for. So,
yeah,
back to Vancouver residential real estate. So rates are pretty good. What's your 5-year fixed insured?
So here's the thing. Right now, the way the markets are working and the bond yields are working, the favorable rate right now is you're better picking a 3-year rate. So
Okay.
the best insured 3-year rate right now. So when we say insured, we're talking about CMHC insurance, where the purchaser is putting less than 20% down.
Mhm.
Best rate right now in the market is 3.89%.
3.89.
Yeah, so it's a promo offer. It's one of those things. It's lasts until they pull it, so there's no timeline on it. But 3 years where we're seeing the discounts, and lenders are again, they're actually favoring the insured, the first time home buyers. There's a lot
Yes.
more room for negotiation. They're willing to give a bit more discretionary pricing on those for those clients versus your refinances or your standard purchases.
Okay. Very good. 3.89 3-year fix for insured mortgages. What do you have for non-insured?
For
Meaning you
non-insured,
20% and up on the purchase.
yeah. So for non-insured, it'll go anywhere between 4.09 to 4.29. This all depends on the amortization that the client will qualify for. If it's whether it's 25% or 30%, and depends on your ratios as well. If I need to get you a little bit more, if we're pushing the threshold above 44% total debt servicing, then you're more likely going to be 4.19 for a 25-year and
Okay.
4.29 30-year amortization. If your total debt servicing, so that's your gross income compared to your mortgage principal, so your principal interest of your mortgage plus tax and heat. So when we say tax, I mean property tax. If all those combined and any other debts that are outstanding, if that goes above 44%, so then that's where I have to take you to the other lenders. But if it's 44 or below, then I can get you 4.09 for a
Okay.
25 position.
Okay. So better rate when you have your debt servicing ratio kind of in check.
Yeah, debt servicing ratios and check can't go above 44. And if you want, and if you're able to qualify for the 25-year amortization.
Okay. Good stuff. Thank you so much. All right, so let's go back to our usual suspects, which would be, so we're going to look at number of sales, which would be our demand, and then looking at our total inventory, which is our supply, and ultimately how is that having an impact on prices, because as Adam Smith put it, the price self-adjusts given the supply and the demand by a invisible hand. Okay, so not so much demand. It's actually, I'm a bit deceived, to be honest. I thought it would pick up after the Bank of Canada announced a decrease in the overnight rate, and also I see some sellers wanting to meet buyers. So I thought that the demand figures will come up a bit better than that. Right now we are on dipping down. So I'm like, we need volumes. We need volumes, right? And one of the reasons why we need volumes is because we have a significant inventory to absorb. All right. So now we switch to the total inventory, and the inventory keeps shooting up at a not as fast pace than in previous month, but it keeps going up. So we do have inventory, a supply building up. So we need some volume. There is a good numbers of property to choose from, depending on your project. But I work on different type of properties with my buyers. So from the 1-bedroom in Vancouver, entry level, there was actually like a killer deal that popped up, and yet it's still on the market, but to the latest information that I have, it's actually going in a multiple offer situation, and it will sell above list price. That was not orchestrated, right? So the price was so good, the property was so good that some buyers actually and buyer's agent saw the value, and it's actually a quite good property, well located, at a very, very good price. So I see that. However, I work also on detached home on the west side, and I see also some very good properties at very good value from what we've been exposed to in the past couple of years. And yet some of those properties, for example, I have this one in mind. This one was listed for 3.2, and standard lot. So for our viewers, standard lot is 33-foot frontage by 120 depth. Standard lot, healthy home, refreshed in terms of materials inside, and they dropped the price to 2.6. Yet it's still not going. So the inventory out there is definitely building up as well, and buyers are becoming more and more picky, right? So it's
That's the question I was going to ask you. With the buyers that you're working with, are you finding that you're showing them a lot more homes on average than, let's say, you would like 2 or 3 years ago?
Well, depends. There was two bursts in the recent history of the residential real estate market in Vancouver. That was 2015-16 and 2020-2021, where I recall sometimes you have a notification, property comes on the market. If it's your client's project in terms of location, price, overall square footage, and you had to run to with your offer in hand to that property, and it happened that yet one property shows up on the MLS at 10 a.m. We made an offer at 4 p.m. The property was sold already.
Wow.
And so to answer your question, before there was just so much, if you look at this time, so total inventory, right? 2016, 2018, there was nothing. There was nothing. And as soon as there was something, properties will fly off the shelf after a couple of days, week, and that's it.
Yeah.
So buyers are taking their time. They want to find something that suits their expectation a bit more. In some cases, they refine, because what I find working with buyer is that there is a search of a feel to fulfill a need, but at the end of the day, when I come in the picture is to provide some insights as per what matters when looking at a property. Of course, it's going to be the feel and the material, the color palette, or the overall space and the price. But there is some other things. Well, I can go over with you right now. I have actually 4 pillars. Okay, so one of them is the exposure. Okay, so how much importance should you give to the exposure of the property? Well, in my opinion, you should give a lot of importance to that. And everybody is different. There is not like a one fits all kind of exposure. Myself is southwest, and that's it. Some people prefer.
Which direction is facing? That's what you mean by exposure.
Exactly, exposition. Then there is also the noise level, right? Some people are more or less sensitive to noise. Is it close to very busy road with traffic? Is it is there the SkyTrain? Is there a restaurant nearby, or a coffee even? A fire hall. Okay. Then the privacy. Okay, so privacy, depending how sensitive are you to privacy. Do you mind having people looking into your space or not? Okay, so that's something you should be aware of before buying your property, right? And then the location itself. It's actually sometimes very very precise, right? Like it goes not only neighborhood by neighborhood, but block by block, right? So then when you apply those pillars to your process, then you become even more picky. So I make my job even more difficult, or not difficult, but challenging, but also rewarding, right? Like I want people to
and I mean, and those 4 pillars that you pointed out, those are extremely important when you're purchasing a property. Exposure. Over here in Vancouver, we have beautiful views. If you can get a view of the mountain versus the view of the noisy street, I choose the mountains, right? So it definitely is a factor. So
well, the thing about Vancouver, and what makes the choice even more difficult, is that again there is no one fits all kind of preferred exposition. Some people prefer to have, if they kind of afraid of the heat in the summertime. So if you have a property that is full on south, you're going to suffer, right? So they prefer to go for something that is facing north. And also in Vancouver, the mountains you're talking about, as well as the in most cases the ocean, is on the north side, right? So if you're like me, you prefer
depends on where you are. So if you're in Vancouver, ocean would be on the west and mountains on the north.
Well, if you're on the west side, it would be on the north. If you're downtown, it would be on the west, and so on, right? So it involves. But at the end of the day, for myself, would prefers like a southwest type of exposure. I like having a lot of light. I don't mind the heat as much. But yet I don't mind looking at the skyline of Vancouver. So that's it. I have to make compromises.
Because I had my own place, and I had an east facing view, but I had exposure to the south and to the north. So when that sun, I would get the sunrise, and I'd see the sun rise above the mountains. Best view to wake up to in Vancouver, man. Trust me. Everyone's all crazy about the water, but
perfect
that sunrise.
Example. Did you anticipate that in your purchase, or it came as a surprise bonus?
No. So we looked at it. So you know how there's the Chinese have the feng shui. Indian people have an equivalent version of it, and we want an east facing home.
Okay.
We want the sunrise.
Nice. Okay.
So I mean, that wasn't a determination. Like, I wasn't particularly looking for that, but when I was buying it, and my parents asked that question, obviously they purchased properties before, so they know, and they asked that question, and they're like, "Oh, that's really good." So I guess to answer your question, it was a surprise to me, but it did end up being a determining factor in like if I should purchase that property.
Exactly, and because there are different parameters to take into consideration, cultural, personal preferences. Right now, I'm working with a friend on the purchase of a property, and we saw that place. It was acceptable, and I asked him, "Are you a morning person or more like a late afternoon, evening person?" He goes, "I'm not a morning person." I'm like, "Okay, the property was facing full east, say we're not getting this one, like because particularly in the summertime when you have a sunrise, it's super early and it's super bright. So I said, okay, well, maybe if you're not a morning person, this is not a place for you. So we moved on. But yeah, those are the parameters to take into consideration.
Yeah, so it's an important that kind of a situation is definitely important because, like as you said, summertime, if you get a place that's west facing, yeah, you get the beautiful sunset, but you're boiling from noon to till the sun sets. So
well, you're boiling. You can put the shades down. I mean, like
but when you put the shades down, it defeats the purpose of getting a west facing property with a nice view, right? So that's the the factor, and is it worth it for you?
Yeah. So is it worth it to get a western exposure with the heat?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, so that's subjective for me because I had an option. The place I bought, I could have bought the west facing unit.
Yeah, because you bought a resale.
And then I'm like, no, thank you.
There you go. So yeah, so when you learn more about what makes your space more enjoyable, so in the decision-making process, then it takes more time and effort, but at the end of the day, I think there's more reward and to have you and blossom in your space and be happy, right?
Exactly.
So now, given the amount of inventory that is building up, you can definitely have all those little parameters in your decision-making process. So, and to the extent that you qualify for a mortgage, it's a good time to shop around and I see sellers, and that's perfect transition to actually the price evolution. I see sellers more and more accepting the new reality, and I think it comes down to, I was reflecting and prepping for this podcast. In my opinion, Vancouver, as we can see on this chart, so what we're looking at is the evolution of the MLS home price index for the last 20 years. And, the trend is clear. It's been going up. And in Vancouver, here's a hard stat. In the last 20 years, over all the main cities in North America, the one that has the most price growth is none other than Vancouver. Okay.
That's right.
So I think it's a bit the end of an era that we're going through right now, because this beast of residential real estate market that we've been through for the past 20 years is showing some, like, he's out of breath for a little bit. Look at that. Like, those prices have been steady growing. There's been some hiccups here and there, but since early 2022, I mean, we had that last burst in spring 2022, but since then we've been riding sideways, and now we are it's been a fight, and now its prices are dipping. And I've said that in previous podcasts we had. Prices will not go up for some time. For prices to go up, it's very simple. We keep it simple. We need that to go back down. Simple. There will not be any price growth if the inventory is still very big. Doesn't. So.
And the chart you have over there, that's total inventory. So that's single family homes, your townhouses, and all the condos.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And as you can see, we haven't had an inventory that big since 2015, 10 years. So prices, if somebody wants to sell, right now I see, as we talked already in some podcasts, when it was a market favoring sellers, buyers were bidding. And now I see that with sellers. Price corrections. Sometimes you see a price correction like that West Side home 2.6. I thought, wow, that should fly off the shelf. Still there. There.
I've seen this property that's in Burnaby, and it's been listed for over a year, and they've done over $1 million in price adjustments there.
So, yeah, like if you, depending on your project, your situation, if you want to sell, you need to prepare to sell. Ideally, not at a loss. It really depends on when you bought, right? Like if you bought so here, according to the chart, pre-2020, as simple as that, or in 2020, right? It's better times, but don't expect to make much profit on that piece of property, as opposed to previous years, right? Like people, that bought in 2005, in 2008, in 3 years, it's had significant gains already. So, in my opinion, this is the end of an era for the Vancouver residential real estate market. And any offers that a seller receives should be looked at carefully with the most seriousness. And I think beginning of next year, we'll see, because right now, in terms of price evolution, we are going through a decrease year over year of 3.9%, right? So the market decreased 3.9% in 1 year, not taking into consideration inflation, right? I think that decrease might be a bit more significant early next year, going minus 4.5, minus 5%, which for residential real estate market, in my opinion, is not, it doesn't feel as good. You know what I mean? Like residential, known as safe investments. At the end of the day, we're still talking about Vancouver. Vancouver, for our viewers, is a very special residential real estate market in the world, and it's a volatile market. We've had years with plus 15, 20, 25. So right now we're still in a single-digit kind of price evolution, and that we need to monitor that for the months, years to come, and pay attention. So yeah, that's it. That's what I have for this last podcast of the year. Piyush, what did you ask Santa for this year?
A vacation.
Nice. Like, where would you like to go?
Oh man, somewhere by the water, nice warm weather. Probably stay there for like a month, and then I'll come back here.
Oh wow. Well, that's actually brings some pain to me, because I was invited to a wedding this weekend in Mexico by friends that I met through real estate, and unfortunately I couldn't attend, but trust me, I wish I was there. So J and F, and big up to you. Vive les mariés, as we say in French. So I would be thinking of you all weekend long, and hoping I was there. But I'll catch you when you come back, and we'll celebrate here in Vancouver. All right, very good. All right, Piyush, take care.
Merry Christmas to you, Julian. Merry Christmas to all our
holidays.
viewers.
Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy holidays to all of us. It's special time of the year to appreciate our relatives, close ones, give them time, attention, and a lot of joy. So happy holidays, everybody. Thank you. See you next year. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.